This video is brought to you by 86. Pick up video game apparel from Skullgirls and Monster Hunter World. 86.com/?AFF equals 4 and let them know that we sent you.
Hello everybody, Anthony here, aka Clawmaster. I just want to let you guys know that during the video when we recorded this, there was an audio problem on Gregg's end. We tried to fix that through Discord, but it wasn't cooperating with us. So bear in mind, you are going to hear a lot of audio pops from Gregg when he speaks and some lag here and there. Just want to let you know ahead of time before watching this video, if this is a problem, you might as well skip the video. But if you bear in mind this, watch the entire video. We give updates on what's going on in our lives as well as future stuff we plan to do on the YouTube channel. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and now here's the video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your sets. This is actual video, actual podcasting from yours truly, and of course the man next to me, Gregg Dietz. Before, or by the time this goes up, it will be the new year of 2021. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. Just trying to, day to day. It's this year hasn't been exactly easy.
It hasn't. So Gregg just messaged me about a week or two ago and said, "Hey, why don't we just do an end of the year podcast for Chits and Giggles?" I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll be down for that." To just talk about what had happened between our last podcast and now. Because there's a lot that's happened. Whew.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. Not only this year, but with our personal lives we want to get into. And then I thought we would also I kind of made a list of a few things that I've enjoyed this year that interesting year. So we'll get into that. But good Lord, man.
Yeah.
How you been?
So, for me, I just been, I always keep myself busy. I'm always working on stuff. I always tend to work on the next thing. It's just a lot of things for me right now. I just moved. So I just moved to a new place. As you can see behind me, this is not my old place. My folks moved back in with me. So we are back together. We just moved in, and we got more stuff coming tomorrow, actually, for the rest of our stuff to move in, all our stuff in. So we've been fine. I've been, mentally, I'm okay. I've been dealing with this a lot better than other people, and finding coping mechanisms to really just kind of deal with everything right now. One of which is VTubers, which has saved my life. Yeah, I just, I
was trying to explain to my dad what VTubers were the other day.
How did that go?
It was interesting because he lay for you, by the way, with this call.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a delay? Are you getting along a pretty hefty delay?
Not as much. Do you hear delay on your end?
Just it seems like there's a solid second of you'll ask me a question and then I'll get the answer and then I recognize that you're quiet. It's weird. I don't know. Anyway, if you folks hear a delay, I don't know. Discord's being weird like it always is. So whatever. Mm-hmm. Anywho, where was I? What was the question? Jesus Christ, my brain just wanted to go in all over the places.
Right.
Oh, VTubers. Explaining VTubers, my dad.
Yeah.
He was really funny about it because he was like, so wait, they're not actually on camera. It's like an avatar, and I was like, yes, it's like usually an anime avatar, something that maybe they get user created. But I started explaining what Code Miko is, that girl that has a full on 3D avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And he just his attitude is very that's cool. I guess
the best way to describe VTubers are, think of wrestling. They're just wrestlers acting as a persona and keeping in that character throughout the entire stream, or break character if they want to. So I think it's probably the best ways to describe what VTubers are. So But
Yeah,
yeah.
true. I did get that across. And, I've talked about like disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
and the way the conversation came about was because I said what always kills me is that when he says something on Twitter in character, you get a bunch of people reacting to it as if he's real, as if it's a real person. And it always makes me laugh because I'm like, I don't really like Doctor Disrespect. I don't really enjoy his show, but the fact that he goats so many people into responding to his wrestler heel persona is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
So it might not be a bad idea to explain VTubers in the same idea.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. It's what I love about this medium that we're part of, streaming video games or whatnot, as far as like, you know, what kind of pushes the boundary of like what's something that we enjoy to the next level, or to something that nobody had thought of before. The whole VTuber thing here in the US didn't blow up until Project Melody came on the scene, because she was a way to describe it. She's not a porn actress, but she did debut on Chatterbait, and when she debuted there, it's funny thinking about it. It exploded, like the internet. It broke the internet. In that sense, where like Chatterbait's website was crashing all the time because all these people were coming in to see who she was, and it was the 3D anime avatar, masturbating on stream, and
Wow.
yeah, it's cam girl basically, and it exploded in.
Oh, I thought this was like on Twitch. I was like, what the fuck?
No. Chatterbait is it's an adult website. So
I didn't catch it. I did, for some reason, did not catch you said Chatterbait.
right.
So that's why I was like, what the fuck?
But yeah, when she exploded, it not only started getting people interested to see what this is, but like it also started people or other fellow cam girls were also getting, hating on her because she's doing something that's completely different than them, getting all this traffic, all this money, and just spawned like this discovery between her and then her other friends who were already VTubers or going to be, suddenly came on the scene, and then this kind of exploded more and more as the past year has gone on. So now we have more growing VTubers debuting it seems like every day or every week or every month, and it has really become its own thing here. It's been a thing in Japan, like it's been doing that for like the past 2-3 years. It's already a thing.
Yeah.
But in here,
it's definitely not new.
Yeah, but over here, like it is definitely something
New to America.
Yeah, and to be fair, like going back to the whole VTuber thing, like it really started with Kaz and I, when she debuted on YouTube, and more of her stuff was very much scripted, and very much of her stuff was edited, and look good, and as far as like how YouTube videos are. And I think the appeal for a lot of people is watching these VTubers live is basically they're live and their interaction is like like watching an anime character interact with you live. So there's definitely a difference in terms of there, but in terms of like how much it exploded this year has been pretty ridiculous. So it's been cool though. I love it. I love the fact that this is a new thing, and it's like pushing the boundaries of what a stream could be. What can you do with it? So I've been loving it.
Well, I think I tested it to the idea of like furries as well, because the concept of a furry was somebody that was that just wanted to have sex in a fursuit, and that's just a classic misconception of what a furry actually is. And when I explained that also to me, because I work with my dad, just FYI, why I talk to my dad a lot, guys. I explained to him that a lot of introverted people who don't have the ability to go out in public without feeling an intense sense of anxiety, they can put on this suit and have a different personality. People don't know who they actually are. People, unless they trust them, they can go to conventions and not, feel like they're gonna fucking die inside. So that's realistically why furries technically exist, and to an extent, VTubers can be the same thing.
Yeah,
a lot of people who want to have because that's the thing about people who watch a stream. They want to see a personality. They want to see a face. Some people don't want their face to be seen. VTubing or a virtual persona allows for that to be a thing.
Absolutely. It's for a lot of us cosplayers, it's like cosplaying, but in the virtual world. It's been really cool to watch this whole entire thing develop. And as a man who watches anime and who loves slice of life animes, like this fits very well with me. So like I can definitely watch a VTuber stream and be like, oh, this is really cute and happy. I'm good. I'm feeling good right now. This is awesome. But yeah, like it is definitely something I really got into this year for sure. So not was I expecting to happen to me at the end of 2020.
The things that have been getting me through the year have always been kind of different. So before March, I had these grandiose plans of like sticking to a specific diet and then license and being able to do DoorDash on my own. Since I am my parents' caretaker, doing something like DoorDash allows me the freedom to work whenever I want. However, the thing is I work with my dad because I didn't have my license. He'd drive, I'd pick up the order and deliver, and yada yada. The problem that came from that is he can only work so many hours. He is he's over 65. He has disabilities in his legs primarily. He has night blindness, so he can't work at night. So it was a situation where I wanted to be able to work without him just stay home. Mm. And then, of course, have the ability to, like, my parents text me, like, hey, we have a problem, we need you to come home, and, like, I can just end the dash. Then COVID hit. And that dashed my capability of being able to go get my license. Because the DMV just closed down for, like, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That really sucked. Because not only was I in the process of trying to get my license, but also my ID expired in April. Able to get it back. I've learned recently that I can do that via the internet. I can just pay $35 and have it renewed. But other thing I want to get into in a minute here. But during that time, I wanted to keep my parents as safe as possible, right? So my dad was never allowed to go into the grocery store anymore. That was a me job. Really took control of that entire thing.
Gotcha.
My mom gained fear of leaving the house. I don't know what fear is called, but you know that fear of like somebody having such an intense fear that they can't even walk outside the front door.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a fear that there's a name to it, but I don't know of it at the moment.
Okay, that's what she has. Like, it is really difficult to just get her to walk out the front door.
Did that happen before?
A little too.
Did that happen before COVID
No.
hit? Oh.
Nope. All because of COVID. My brother and his fiance ended up buying a house. And he really wanted us to come out and see it. So to get her to leave the house was about an hour-long journey from the front door to the car. I wish I was joking.
Wow.
Like, it was really tough. Recently here, she had to go get her labs done at the hospital. Luckily, not a hospital that has an ER, so didn't have to worry about a COVID wing or anything like that. But if anyone got near her vicinity, she'd freak out. She had a panic attack in the fucking hospital, and I had to like sit there and tell her to breathe and calm her down.
Wow.
It's been stressful, and because of that, eating really poorly. Whenever I'm stressed or depressed, I eat really shitty, really bad. So when the diet was out the fucking window, and I was eating just fast food and all kinds of salty shit, and I had like on 6 packs of Diet Mountain Dew. I was like, oh, they're diet, no sugar. Couldn't figure out why I was having these weird chest heart palpitation things.
Oof.
They'd make me sweat really bad, and then I'd have to pee constantly, and I could not figure out where it was coming from. So I started looking up like symptoms of that, and it was like you have high blood pressure.
Mm.
So I've cut out the soda entirely. I have like literally a cup of coffee. That's all the caffeine I have in the day.
Good.
I've cut out salt as much as I can.
Good.
Haven't had an attack for months.
Nice.
That being said, then we're hit this year by another major problem. My dad's kidneys are failing.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't remember what the disease is called, but basically, like his kidneys are at a constant like lowering percentage. It's to the point now where he can't get it under control. He'll have to go on dialysis. And I had to actually go into a hospital, into like a dialysis clinic, and discuss with a specialist like what involves at home dialysis and all this kind of shit. Like, that's my life at the moment. Keeping my parents safe from fucking awful virus that nobody wants to take seriously. Not nobody, but a lot of people don't want to take seriously. Dealing with my dad's health issues where he can't have meat anymore because he literally cannot eat animal protein.
Oh, wow.
Like, I shit you not. The doctor told him he couldn't have any animal protein, right? So he went completely vegan.
Oh, wow.
And I did it with him for about a month.
Wow.
I wanted to support him as best I could. I ate vegan as well. I figured I stick with it with him, he'll be more apt to stick with it too. So we did that. And his kidneys actually improved a little bit. They were at like 22%, then they went up to 25, and now they're at like 30.
Nice.
The thing means kidneys are healing. There's a lot of dead tissue there, so that's a problem. But fine. We thought we'd have a celebratory dinner. And it was literally the night before we went and got his labs done. He had a beef stew sort of dish from a restaurant down the street. His kidneys went down significantly.
Oof.
I think it read like 19%.
Oof.
And that was absolutely terrifying. It feels like there's a constant thing with that. Like, it's this battle between anxiety and depression and dealing with like all this extra shit, and then on top of all of this, Anthony, I shit you not, I was driving around. I was the one driving for a long time. My dad would be in the passenger seat and I'd just be doing DoorDash deliveries in the driver's seat. It was great. I loved it. He ran over a fucking curb, bent the entire fucking door frame, the passenger side. Then we had to go, contacted us and said, why don't you guys come in and trade cars? So now we have an older car that I can't fit in. Literally too fat to fit behind the driver's seat. So it's just like, it's just all year has been this catch, like this like 1-2 punch all fucking year.
Damn. But
so my solaces, my things that helped me get through this year have been primarily like certain video games, a lot of different types of shows, and weirdly enough, TikTok.
Yeah,
I know this sounds weird. Why the fuck?
No. I can definitely see that. I've been on TikTok a few times. I'm planning to be more in 2021, but I definitely can see that.
Yeah, it was like I downloaded TikTok because I was like, what the fuck is this all about? Saw a lot of like at the time I downloaded it, just so you know, this was like when, pardon me. Back to the burpcast.
Remember that, kids?
When TikTok first came out, there was this weird thing where it was like furries versus gamers. It was like a big trend on there for a hot minute. And that's when I was watching it, and then a lot more people joined it over time. And I learned very quickly that the algorithm really does pick up onto what it wants to show you. And the more stuff you share and like and comment on, it just keeps recording that. So now my For You page is just hilarious shit all the fucking time.
Nice.
So yeah, that's been my solace, but like I'll get into a whole list of video games, but there's been 2 games back really helped me out a lot this year. And the first one would be Animal Crossing New Horizons, mainly because it was a way to kind of just do something and be able to communicate with other people in regards to like playing the game. But the other big one, other major one, was Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that fucking game.
Oh yeah.
I should be playing it tonight. We're done recording this. So yeah, that's been my year. That's honestly like the only thing that I've been doing creative, and if you want to even really want to call it creative, is the podcast I do with Maya.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm sure you know this, Anthony. Maya came out as trans this year. Actually, a few months ago.
Yep. I figured out when I saw the new podcast artwork, and I was sitting there thinking, who is this new girl? Like, did the other person like leave? And then I realized that they had a metal leg, and I was like, wait, oh,
that's the same person.
yeah. And I see the tattoo. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know who it is.
So yeah, that's also been an interesting thing for me this year, because I've met quite a few trans people in my life, but I was never close friends with any of them. And I've had 2 friends become trans women this year. So it's been interesting. I'm still very good friends with both of them, consider them close friends. But there's been a lot for me to kind of adjust. For example, when we do our pre-warm-up on All Queued Up, Betty and Maya, by the way, we have a new co-host, Betty. Betty and Maya like to talk about makeup and shit, and I'm just like, anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
It's been very interesting.
That's But at the same time, that's kind of cool that you experienced that firsthand. And
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I had Michelle on the podcast when Maya came out to the world for the first time in a very public way. It was literally like we recorded the episode the day after she had made her announcement on Facebook, with resounding fucking support. But that episode, I would urge you, for anybody listening to this podcast, if you don't really know what being a trans person is like, or if you want to kind of hear what that world is like firsthand, I highly recommend listening to that episode, that very specific episode. Granted, Michelle and Maya are both newly transitioned women, more newly than not, because they both came out this year. But they've especially Michelle have experienced a lot over the past, however many months, the trans community.
Yeah. Wow.
Exception and all sorts of stuff. So, it's very eye-opening, very informative on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And like, it's been a wild fucking year, but like,
yeah,
a lot of ups and downs and ups, but
it's
experiences that I never thought I'd experience. And thank God for the internet, man.
Same here. Like, I cannot tell you how thankful I am right now in this position, because before COVID hit, before I was into this current job, I was unemployed for a month. I was still living with my brother. I had just lost my job, my career job at this small upstart company, and reasons for that didn't work out because it wasn't a fit. Kind of realized that after a while. Also, the fact that it was a Vietnamese-based company, so it was kind of hard at times, like as far as like what they wanted. As much as they say like that wasn't the issue, it's like, oh yeah, that wasn't the issue. So like there was a language barrier for sure. So had it for a month, was unemployed, and was out looking for a job, and it so happens there's this job here on my desk just go check out. And it was out in it was kind of far from me where I was living at, and it just so happens I go to one tent and talk to a woman about a temp job with a company or with a company, and turns out that company was for Medi-Cal. So worked my ass off, made sure I got the job. And it just so happens it kicked in this year to the point to where I can work from home. I'm they're thankfully they're making a newsletter every month, so I had to help out with the design and video edits and whatnot. So I've been very, very fortunate right now for having this job and to be in this position, because if it wasn't for that, I would be back up in NorCal. My parents would have not moved down here. We would have been stuck in Northern California, and I would be probably looking for a job online somehow. I don't know. It would have been really tough. But I'm very thankful as far as like how I got in this position. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. I know that as long as I've known you, you've had a lot of trouble like finding a decent job for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you found one.
Yes.
I'm really glad that.
Yes. So I'm very thankful, and in the case anybody from my job sees this, I am very thankful. Thank you. I really love my job. I'm not bullshitting.
That's great.
But yeah, outside of that, like it's just, it's
I know it's got to be rough.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I know it's got to be rough for you a little bit because, and I know a lot of people personally that feel this way, but not being able to go to conventions, not being able to do all that kind of shit, just is really getting to people.
You know what's funny? It's actually the opposite with that with me, because the minute COVID hit,
Really?
I was looking at this situation. We were all forced home, and I was like, I was built for this, like, because I am an introvert. So like I was thinking like, oh,
right, same here.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, we get to stay home. Oh, all the time. I get to take a shower and like wake up and don't have to go outside as often. I can stay at home and play games and watch anime and all this stuff. And it's like, oh fuck yeah, all right, let's do this. I was like, I was built for this. So like I was actually pretty okay with everything that was going on in terms of like the situation. And I do miss cons. I think conventions were pretty much the only time I socialized with other people. And I did miss that. But I've been taking it pretty well. I think the one thing that I'm going to fix socializing outside of online calls is, Christmas has passed, and my dad asked me like, what do you want? And he's like, I'm trying not to break the bank for you because we just moved and you spent a lot of money to move down here. He's like, no, don't worry about the money. I was like, all right. So I asked him for a VR headset that I can get, and the reason being is not only for the games, because I cannot wait to play Half-Life Alyx. I know I've seen the ending and I've seen some of it. It looks freaking cool. But that aside, I plan to use it to go into VR chat and hang out with people and just like socialize that way online in virtual avatars. So that's what I'm really most looking forward to, and just kind of chilling and just like being, talking to somebody like virtually as if I was there. Not to throw that stereotype into it, but that's basically what I want to do. So yeah.
I've watched quite a few VR chat streams, and I'd love to do that too. But Because one of the things I've seen about VR chat that I always found fascinating was the cosplay part of it. Not cosplay. I'm sorry.
The models that they use.
The role play of it.
Yes. Oh my God. Go on, but I will go deeper in that.
No. That's all. I was just trying to think of the fucking word role play.
Right.
It wasn't coming to my mind.
So, alongside PTubers and VR chat, what kind of opened my eyes, or per se, just really opened up just things I was discovering throughout this year. Like I love when new ideas of storytelling is shown to the internet in some way. And when VR chat happened, and I was looking at other streams, I also, one of the VTubers I was watching is friends with a dungeon master. His name is Arcadum. And after watching their campaign, the VTubers campaign, I started watching his other stuff, and like the way that his stories are told just through D&D, but then taking that same idea to where he has a brand new season of this VR roleplay that's called Calix's Row, where it's think of an entire story or world that's happening all the time, like a video game per se. The sci-fi world, and you got 40 role players in this world, and they're acting out their character and they're proceeding in the story. All of this is happening. Arcadum, the dungeon master of this entire thing, is also doing DM dungeon mastering roles and checks with some of these people when asked upon. It is some serious next level stuff I've never seen, and that really because at first I thought it was like just a role playing thing. They're proceeding act on the fly, improv essentially, but I didn't know there was a dice rolling in the background that's happening, and that really blew my mind. So like the idea of combining role play with VR chat, that's also like D&D, is really, really cool, and I really love the idea. I almost stayed up. Was watching Momo's stream, and she's part of another group that she RPs with, and it was pretty late. I won't stay up the entire night, but like I was glued to my monitor to like 3 a.m. watching her do her role play, and it was just super cool, and I just really digging it. So yeah, like definitely, I love it. I can't wait to give you a headset. Am I gonna role play in the future? Possibly. I kind of want to. That'd be really cool to do. But yeah, it's super cool. I love just how a new way to tell a story is introduced.
Yeah, that's something also about Twitch that's been interesting, not only this year but in general. Just like this way people are telling new stories that they wouldn't get the chance otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That's also been something interesting about streaming platforms, is like a show like Infinity Train was not picked up by Cartoon Network. HBO Max picked it up.
Yeah.
And then the guy who did Regular Show, he wanted to do a more adult series, and HBO Max picked that up. That has been really interesting to see. I know that Twitch has been interesting in regards to certain aspects of of telling stories in a unique way too. So
yeah,
there apparently is a whole drama-based series on using Animal Crossing too.
Is there?
I believe it's on YouTube. But yeah.
Huh. Okay.
The way that they film it is very much like it's a group of people who all have different switches. They make their characters as best they can, and then they use emotes that they have with their characters to tell a dramatic story.
That's okay.
That's something we wouldn't have gotten without the internet,
Right.
But yeah, what outside of personal stuff, Anything substantial that you've enjoyed this year before I get to my lists?
Let's see.
Because you've been a lot busier than I have. So
Right. So, personally, I mean, the things that I've really enjoyed this year, in terms of just in general, again, VTubers was a good coping mechanism for me to get through all this. So that was, definitely one of them up there. In terms of everything else wise, it was funny enough, I actually been playing a lot more games this year than I would normally. For obvious reasons, because we're on a pandemic. And I've been playing a lot more, and it's like I have a reason to, I have a good enough reason to say what my game of the year is, instead of just like playing the 1 or 2 games I played last year. So it was playing more games and just kind of having the feeling like, I have money, I'll go buy that, I'll try it out, sure. Or being on Game Pass, and this is like, I get all these games. Game Pass has been a godsend, by the way. It is so cool.
I tell people all the time, like, I only buy like a couple games in the year, and it's like one AAA $60 game, and the rest are independent games, because most games are available to rent. Like, if you have PC, I get why you couldn't rent games.
Right.
If you have consoles, I don't see why you wouldn't want to rent games. To try out all of these games that I can't afford. So good, so fucking great.
Yeah.
That being said, there have been a couple this year that I had to buy. One that I wish I hadn't. That would be Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
I can get into why that game is not purchase worthy. But if you've played it, you know why.
Oh yeah.
Have you played it?
I have not played it, but I've seen enough of it and heard complaints to say like, okay, I can understand why people are upset about this game. So yeah, I've seen enough of it.
It's not as buggy or glitchy as some people make it out to be. It really isn't. Like, I played quite a bit of it on my Xbox One.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's more, it's content starved. That's what it is.
I was gonna say it's more like Anthem.
Yeah.
Hi, dogs outside the house.
Yeah, but I will say though, the story is really good. Like the story in Marvel's Avengers.
Give me just a couple minutes here. I gotta go get some water. I don't know why I didn't fill up my cup before we started recording, but
oh sure. Okay, can I unpause here? Okay, I think we're still rolling. Yep. Okay. All right, I was gonna pause it, unpause it, but whatever. Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, so this is a chill video. We're talking about our lives. There's no structure to this podcast. If you're wondering, like, why is it doing this and this and this? It's like this podcast is quite literally just shooting the shit and just updating, our lives, but also this channel in terms of like what's happening to the future, which will probably get to toward the end. But it's definitely something where we're definitely going to plan to do more in the future. It's just a matter of time and when. So, which, hey, but yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Okay, and then I'm gonna pause now. Haha, the power of OBS Studio. You can unpause and pause your recordings.
Oh, that is convenient.
Yeah.
So, question for you. I'm gonna go over some of the stuff I watched this year.
Okay.
And shows before we get to the gaming part.
Okay.
Just because I want to, and you're gonna just come along with the journey.
Okay.
You're gonna say, okay, that's cool, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with shows. So, if you've watched any of these, let me know. If not, convince you to watch them.
Okay.
So the first thing, number 10 is Tiger King. Tiger. Yeah, it came out at the beginning of the pandemic, so
perfect timing. Man.
It's kind of like a pandemic hero there.
It really is.
Did Did you watch that at all?
So I knew, I've seen enough clips of it to know what it's about, and I think my brother and his girlfriend actually watched some of it in the room when I was there living with them. So I saw the clips here and there, but not entirely sit down and watch it the entire way through.
It's a fascinating train wreck. It's the best way I can explain it. The story is like, I remember watching the first 2 episodes and I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then episode 3, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it got to the point where every single time they would end an episode, it was this new information that they were like, ha, gotcha, you're coming back. Motherfucker. And it's only 7 episodes, and I swear to God, each time they tell, like, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier, which is, I think, why so many people gravitated towards it. But I absolutely loved it. It was hilarious and nuts and kept my attention for 7 fucking hours straight. So, kudos.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 9 is The Haunting of Bly Manor. Did you ever watch The Haunting of Hill House?
No, I tend to not watch scary stuff to begin with. So,
okay, so let me put it this way: The Haunting of Hill House isn't so much scary as it is eerie. I am not the world's biggest fan of jump scares. I think that they can be utilized in great ways, but when a movie just hinges on that, I'm kind of like, meh. I like when it's a little bit more psychological, it's a little bit more fucking with your brain. And The Haunting of Hill House does that really, really, really well. I'll put it this way, Anthony. There is a single jump scare in Haunting of Hill House. There's a few times where they try to do a jump scare, and it's more of like a... But there's one that, like, I swear to God, I shit my whole heart out. And it is so well done and so perfect, I have nothing but respect for it. So, but they came out with a sequel this year called Haunting of Bly Manor. And it is arguably a better told story than Haunting of Hill House. But it's fascinating. My only argument against it, the reason it's low on my list and not higher, primarily because they do something that drives me nuts in stories. So it's 9 episodes long, and for 7 episodes, you're watching all these characters, you're watching their journey, you're watching everything about them, and there is a ghost in the house that literally kills people. It grabs them by the throat and drags them through the house. You've seen it happen multiple times in the show. Well, the main character, and at the end of episode 7, it grabs her by the throat, and then completely cuts, and then episode 8, the penultimate episode, is all about that ghost. So you have to sit through a whole episode that has nothing to do with the main character before finding out the fate of the main character.
Cool. Dig it.
I didn't dig that part. I dug the rest of it. I hate that. Just like they could have told her story throughout the thing in small little vignettes or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't stop the whole thing.
No, I understand it. I understand the tease. Like, I might have done the same if I was making that movie or shows.
Oh, I get the cliffhanger. I get ending on the episode before to make you want to watch the next one. Totally get that. What drives me nuts is that it was a whole episode that had nothing to do with any of the main characters. It was nothing about it. It didn't go back. It didn't like the first 10 minutes be about it and then go back. It was like, here's a cliffhanger. Now let's talk about the past for an hour, and then we'll get to the the part that you left off on. It's like, no, please don't. So, it's just kind of I hate that. Other than that, the show is fucking fantastic, and the ending is great. So then we have number 8 on my list, Star Trek Picard.
Okay.
I know a lot of Trekkies didn't really like the show, and that the argument is that it wasn't very Star Trek. I get that. It's more Star Wars than it is Star Trek. And I say that in regards to Trek is more cerebral in its storytelling. It's more hockey, if you will. This is not. This is very, like, it is cerebral to an extent, but it has a lot more J.J. Abrams Star Trek than it is original Star Trek. Makes sense.
Okay. Cool.
Doesn't mean it's not good. I think the story is fantastic, and it really does bring in a lot of stuff from the past. So, number 7 is The Queen's Gambit.
I've heard a lot of stuff about this show. Yeah.
It is. It's a mini series that deals with obsession, and it's really, really good. A few complaints I've seen about it are that, like, it doesn't show addiction in a truer sense. But my argument is, it's a show, a realistic depiction. People are weird, but no, it's a really, really good done and well told story.
I heard.
Highly recommend.
I heard that it also persuaded a lot of people to play chess as well.
Yes, it did. I did see a pretty great joke on Twitter the other day. It was this Twitch streamer who plays chess against an AI and her friend all the time, and she constantly talks about different methods and directions you can take your pieces while playing chess. And she posted an image of her, like, she was like, me playing chess at different ages. 8, 12, 16, 25. And when the comment, you'll get it when you watch the show, and anybody listening to this podcast, if you watch it, you'll get this joke. But it goes, that's weird. I didn't see you looking at the ceiling at any point. And I know that joke's gonna...
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
But it's directly related. Number 6, Lovecraft Country. I absolutely adored this show. It dealt with two different types of monsters in the world. Fictional Lovecraftian horror monsters and racists. Specifically, 1940s/50s racists. I don't want to say too much about the show because I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say there are multiple times where you get to watch monsters literally rip racist heads off. So I don't know if that doesn't persuade you to watch. I don't know what will.
You know, it was funny.
Very sad.
Right. It was funny. As you mentioned it. Actually, the other person I heard talk about it praisingly, and I've been listening to a lot of Kevin Smith's podcast, and he has this podcast with Mark Bernard called Fat Man Beyond, and
okay, yeah.
And then when we're talking about it, like Mark was definitely praising his the show. I was like, okay, yeah, sounds cool. So
yeah, if you have access to HBO Max, I can't recommend it.
How many episodes is it?
We're gonna have 10, I believe.
10?
I think it's 10 episodes long, hour a piece.
I feel like I should watch it. I feel like I would really dig it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not scary. It does use, like, horror element monsters, like Lovecraftian monsters, but my favorite thing is that I don't know if you know much about H.P. Lovecraft himself, but he was a massive racist.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, real quick, Anthony, just for posterity here, I want you to go to Google. Pull up Google real quick for me.
Okay, I'm pulling up Google right now.
Let me know when you have the search bar up.
Okay, all right.
Type in these exact words: H.P. Lovecraft's cat.
The Cats of Uther.
Okay. Wait. What did you type in exactly?
I put in H.P. Lovecraft cat.
No, put in apostrophe S and then cat.
Oh.
And then maybe put name after cat, like H.P. Lovecraft cat's name.
Apostrophe S. H.P. Lovecraft apostrophe S, and then I'm seeing Nam 3 and
what the fuck? Hold on, I'm typing. I'm trying to find out what I typed in exactly. Lovecraft's cat. Okay, yeah. Type in H.P. Lovecraft's cat, and it should come up with a Know Your Meme.
That was like the first thing that popped up, actually. Yeah, know your meme. Yeah.
Yeah. Go look at that. Go look at his cat's name.
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was a massive racist. Massive racist. So knowing that his monsters are being used in this story to like the extent that they are is just perfect.
Wow.
I know that he's rolling over in his grave, and I love it. So yeah, definitely check out Lovecraft Country if you can. Number 5 on my list is Animaniacs. Animaniacs reboot.
Hell yes. I didn't still get through that. I only got through episode 3, I want to say. It's good. It's good.
Really fucking funny. The earlier episodes really do a hardcore like make fun of modern popular culture, and then it kind of goes off the rails a little bit with what it wants to make fun of and where it goes with the stories. But overall, like it's really fucking well done.
Oh man, I love
they're gonna have another season next.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope they have another season. Like it's super cool. I felt like they never left in the cliche way.
Yeah.
Not only just animation wise and how they look, but the humor is modernized. The humor is as you know, of this time, like it was back in the 90s. So it's good. Freaking yeah, I need to get through that. I need to finish it. But yeah, that is definitely a show I truly love. I hope that in season 2 we'll get some of the other characters to come back at some point.
Yeah. No, I like to see, because I know spoiler alert, there is an episode where they do make strong reference to the other characters that existed in the original 90s show. I won't tell you what, I won't tell you when, because it's kind of a fun little surprise, but
yeah,
there is reference. They do recognize that there were other characters besides Pinky the Brain.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
I want chicken.
That was the other thing about it that I thought was that. What's that?
I was gonna say I want chicken boo. I want that chicken back.
Like Mindy and Buttons when I was a kid, because I would always irritate my parents going, "Why? Why? Why?" The other thing that we would quote all the time besides that was Tiny Toon's Plucky Duck when he was a baby, like, "Go down the hall, or go up, elevator go down."
Of course.
I don't know why. So number 4 on my list is Dark. It's the final season. Have you had a chance to even hear of the show Dark on Netflix?
So I've heard of Dark, only because at my job we have a newsletter, and one of the sections was what were your top 10 things you were watching, playing, or reading, and Dark was like at the top for a lot of people where I work with. It's like,
It's 3 seasons long. They have an ending to their story. Holy shit, dude. It's all in German. So if you don't mind reading subtitles, which you watch anime, so I know you don't.
Oh yeah.
And if you do have trouble reading subtitles, they have a dubbed version, so you can watch that. And what was funny was when we watched the first half of the podcast, the dubbed version. Pardon me again, another burp. The dubbed version was really bad. It was during the writer's strike, like a couple of years ago.
Okay, interesting.
Writer's strike. I'm sorry, voice actor strike. And so they had to hire like a bunch of people who are not professional voice actors to do the lines, and a lot of it was like over the phone too, so you can kind of hear the difference. It was really bad, but they've since then come back over it a bit. So The first season's a lot better now, but yeah, it's all really like I watched season 2. I watched all 3 seasons dubbed, and I had no problems with it. So, but yeah, show is fucking great. Like I highly recommend. It's number 4 on my list. Of course I do. Number 3 is something that I literally watched all of today. Today, as of this recording.
And that is?
I really wanted to watch it because I heard a lot of great things. I wanted to watch it. Everyone was talking about it this year. Like, it's one of the greatest shows that came out. But the problem was it was on a platform that I just didn't really have access to. A lot of reasons, and I'll get to that in a minute. The show is Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Statham. I didn't have access to it because I don't have any Apple products. And Apple TV's app wasn't on any of the stuff that I own. It's not on the Roku. It's not, I can't really get it on the laptop because it's not an Apple laptop. My phone doesn't able to get Apple, so I wasn't able to see it. And very, very recently, I'm talking about like last week, the Apple TV app appears on Xbox and PlayStation. I went for a trial. I went up a fucking week trial and watched fucking Ted Lasso in one day, and it is fucking fantastic. Holy shit! You have to watch that show.
That's a show where that gym teacher becomes the coach of a soccer team.
Not a gym teacher. He was a coach of a football team, but he only did like college.
Gotcha.
He wasn't super well known or anything. Like, there's a whole reason why he was hired to coach a premier soccer team, or premier football team, as they say. I don't want to spoil why. It's a great little like, it's wonderful. It's delightful because it's. How do I put it politely? How do I put it? Stupid characters in this show. Some characters don't know something and they might act stupid for a moment, but they're not entirely dumb. Times that I watch, you have really dumb fucking characters. You're just like, oh my god, this guy's so dumb. That doesn't exist in it.
I know that feeling.
It's very uplifting too. So I can't recommend it. It's so good. But yeah. So that's number 3. My number 2 is Boys season 2.
I need to hop on that. My my brother left the TV for me, and I just added my account on his Amazon Prime, and I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about The Boys. I need to hop on that and start watching it because I love the concept and idea of it.
Yeah, it's a bit of the comic. I want to get back and finish the comic eventually, but what I love about The Boys, what I love about the comic, and now the show does the same thing, is it subverts what we enjoy about Marvel and DC. Mostly DC as of right now, but superheroes as a whole. It takes the concepts and themes that we know and goes and turns it on its head in a very exciting and unique ways. So I can't recommend The Boys enough. And especially if you're getting like tired of superhero stuff, but you don't hate superhero stuff, it's definitely up your alley. My number 1 show of the year is Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my god.
Oh, super fucking fun. Season 2 is interesting versus season 1 because season 1 felt like its own show. It didn't really have a lot of like legacy stuff in it. Legacy characters, meaning characters that were in something else and now they're here, or fan service characters, if you will. It was all its own kind of story, right?
Right.
And season 2 is like, we still want to make it its own story, but kind of had these fun pseudo cameos. So, without spoiling the final cameo, if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing here? The cameo of Bo-Katan was cool.
Yes.
Because it felt like she belonged in that scene.
Oh yeah.
Feel out of place. The whole episode that involved Ahsoka,
yes,
felt right.
Oh god.
It didn't feel like it was just fan service bullshit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what I argue all the time when it comes to shows that want to add a legacy character in that fashion, is that just make it fan servicey. You kind of have to you have to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau did an excellent job of that.
Season 2 was such an upgrade to season 1. They nailed everything, I think, perfectly. I can't tell you how many times when watching the show that I kept saying to myself out loud, like, this is really cool, like, this is awesome. Like, I was, man, it definitely raised the bar. I think they took the criticisms of season 1 and just got better with it in season 2.
See, I disagree.
Interesting.
I'll explain why. Yeah. I don't think that they took any criticism from season 1. I think that season 1 was all about establishing a certain set of characters. It was establishing a theme that was going to go into season 2. Season 1 was about introducing the world of what the Mandalorian has to deal with. We already knew the characters. Not characters. We already knew the world with Star Wars.
Yes.
Everyone knows Star Wars.
Yes.
It was more about introducing the Mandalorians as they are. Introducing that whole creed. Because a lot of people didn't read the fucking books, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what a lot of this is pulled from, is that extended universe. It was more about introducing those personalities. People always said, like, I hated episode 4. I hated the whole episode where Poe is on this, like, trying to hide and to help this village out with, you know, the help of Cara Dune. And I'm like, I don't understand why you hate that episode. It's straight up a Seven Samurais fucking episode. But I think that what this season did was shifted from Lone Wolf and Cub and more True Grit. Like, it had that tonal shift. Now, I think a lot of Americans really attached to that, the Western side of it versus the samurai side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I don't think that season 1... that's why I don't think season 2 is technically better than season 1. I think it's just a slightly different tone.
Interesting.
But that's... To me, they're both A+ shows.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
A+
They're both
seasons.
good. They're both good. I love them both. It's just like season 2. It's just really recently new to me. So like it's to me it's like the better of the 2 seasons, and it's there's a lot of stuff in it that just like made me just go wow several times.
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, the last episode has some of the best shit in it. The finale, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really like, they definitely, I will say this, they definitely up the bar, the feeling of stakes being raised.
Yeah.
Not in the last episode per se, but definitely like throughout the season, they kept raising the stakes, which was great, because in season 1 it wasn't as much that as it was in season 2. But again, this is Lone Wolf and Cub versus what season 2 is, which was like, again, True Grit.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, let's move on to my movie. I don't know what movies you saw this year, but
so I have actually. So in terms of movies wise, like before before pandemic, I saw a few. I think, funny enough, I think the last movie I saw before the COVID hit was Sonic in theaters. Yeah. Outside of that, I actually have not really watched any new movies that have been online. Honestly, nothing has really drawn my attention to check out, except for, you know, I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman at some point. Yeah, at some point. And then maybe Soul. So yeah.
What an absolute trip. Like, I can't. Wonder Woman 1984 did not make my top 10. Straight up.
I've heard
it was actually probably low.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about that movie, both negative and some positive. So I'm like, okay, this is all right. Good to know.
So here's the positive: the first 30 minutes in the acting and the cinematography. That's it.
Cool.
Straight up. The plot is inconsistent and incoherent. Goes all over the place. There's some like questionable shit that happens in it. Very questionable shit. Yeah, it's when we do reviews for the podcast, all queued up, we give a grade, right?
Right.
Would you like to know what grade I'm giving it?
A D?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
I have
Yeah.
I have a rule when it comes to stories. If you're going to introduce a silly idea, make it make sense. If you're going to introduce something that natural, stick to the rules that you've created for it. Guess what Wonder Woman doesn't do. So,
I see.
but I don't want to spoil it for you since you haven't seen it.
All right. Okay.
Because a lot of people do enjoy, like, they kind of like, she really liked it. She was just like, I don't pay attention to all that stuff that you pay attention to. And I'm like, I wish it were just me, Mom. That way, after I saw Dark Knight Rises, like, I felt like I was the only one that didn't like it. But over time, I found out a lot more people are understanding where the fuck I was coming from now.
I see.
But
I see.
and I give a lot of leeway to DC movies, a lot of leeway. DC properties as a whole, because DC as a whole is not very like. They aren't super into. I'll put it this way. Here's the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel goes, here's science fiction mumbo jumbo, but it makes sense in a science-y kind of way. DC goes, here's a bunch of magic mumbo jumbo. Here's a bunch of shit that we're not going to fucking explain, it just happens. With a lot of credence to DC in that, and Wonder Woman did that kind of a lot. And I went, okay, whatever, no biggie, it's DC. But, again, when you bring up magic mumbo jumbo and you create a rule, stick to that fucking rule. So, that's my argument. Without spoiling it, that's my argument. Anyway, here are my top 10 movies. Number 10 is Extraction, Netflix. It stars Chris Hemsworth, and it is entirely an action film. Chris Hemsworth is sent in as an ex-marine or some shit. Like, I don't remember what his title is or was. Sent in to retrieve kid of the leader of the country. And in the process of doing this, he has to fight off a lot of people. About midway through the movie, there is, and I shit you not, and it might be cut, like I can tell, like, if a camera moves from, like, wall to wall, if it's filming a wall for a second, I know that's when the camera cut. Like, I know how filmmaking works, but it looks like one continuous 30-minute shot. It is incredible.
Okay.
So good. It was like, watch Extraction if you can. It's good. Number 9 was Onward, which you can find on Disney Plus.
Yes, should I watch it?
Oh yeah. It has a lot to do with family-based stuff. Like, the two main characters they've lost their dad. It's a journey on to kind of rekindle that relationship that they had with their dad. That's all I'm gonna say without spoiling it. But it's it made me cry at the end, so there's that.
Okay.
Number 8 is Enola Holmes, which you can find on Netflix. Enola Holmes is an interesting little movie. Fun. It's not super thinky. It's kind of predictable, but what I enjoyed about it is it was just a fun movie to watch, A nice little movie. But what it's about, just so you kind of know, is that apparently Sherlock has a little sister, much younger little sister, and she's played by the girl. What's that?
No, Funny you mention that. There's a VTuber in Hollow Live that is basically Sherlock Holmes, but it's a girl blonde version. Anyways, go on.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I would recommend Nola Holmes, especially if you're like wanting to watch something with family. It's super nice. It's just a nice movie. But number 7 is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Fun movie.
Way better than I thought it was going to be.
I think everybody had.
Way better.
I think everybody had.
After.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say everybody had the kind of. I feel like the same reaction when they went to go see it. Because everybody was like, "This is a lot better than it should be," and it was a nice surprise for a lot of us.
I think the reason that a lot of people thought that was because the original design of Sonic was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were just kind of like, "This isn't going to be very good, is it?" And they surprised us. They changed that design, and the movie was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
I can't tell you. Well, is it okay to say a spoiler for a movie that came out this year?
I came out in fucking early February. I think you're fine.
Okay, I cannot tell you. At the very end of the movie, and obviously, I mean, I'm in the movie theater, and there's like tons of kids watching this. The kids were just going ape shit when Tails came on screen, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Tails!" Ah! So it was like, okay, no, I dig this. This is cool.
Yeah, that was it was less kids around me and more like other adults that were freaking the fuck out, like guys my age.
That's cool.
Because that was at the end of the credits or mid credits or something like that. So a lot of people had already left with their kids. So it was a lot of like, I remember this group of guys in front of me were just like, "It's fucking dead."
Oh, that's sick.
It's so fun.
That's hilarious.
So number 6 is The Devil All the Time. This is a movie that's on Netflix. I very much recommend it because it is the way the story is told actually reminds me of a Coen's Brothers movie.
Oh, okay. One of those.
It's a series of characters' lives that are spanned out over the course of 2 generations, and you watch their stories not in conjunction with one another. They're kind of broken up a little bit, but they eventually all kind of come to a head. And it's all in the South. It stars Tom Holland and Shaw. Is it Sean? Sebastian. He plays fucking Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Sebastian Stan. I got it there eventually. Bunch of other actors here and there, like you'll recognize a ton of people, but recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Not fun per se because it has to do with a lot of death, but whatever. It's really well done. Number 5 is Tenet, the only other movie I saw in the theater. Which, by the way, for anybody, whenever I tell somebody I saw this in the theater, they were like, "That's unsafe," and I'm like, there was literally one other group, and they were like at the very top while we were in the middle. We weren't near anybody. We wore our mask the entire time. It's fine. But yeah, like I really wanted to see Tenet, and went with a friend, and I really liked it, dude. Like it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a really silly premise. Like it's kind of Nolan trying to out Nolan himself. A lot of the rules he sets forth don't make a lot of sense, but they work to an extent. I would say it's one of his weaker films. They like Memento and Prestige and Inception are much better. But it's fun. It's good. I really dug it. So
okay,
whatever.
I remember hearing about Tenet, and it bombed poorly because he wanted to release it in theaters, and during the pandemic, like it didn't sell well. And now he's all angry about it online. But yeah, so okay,
whatever. Christopher Nolan's a weird dude. I don't whatever. Let's see if he wants. He's also a very pretentious guy. Love his movies. Dude's pretentious as hell.
I can
It's his thing.
I can definitely see that.
My number 4 is Soul. I absolutely love Soul. Cried at the end. Beautiful fucking movie. Like, if you're feeling any kind of way about your life and your position in life and where your life is going, watch Soul. You'll feel different at the end. I promise. I absolutely promise you will. That's all I can say. I don't want to spoil it. You have to watch it. You just do. If you have access to Disney Plus, which most people do because they watch Mandalorian, watch Soul. You get it at no additional cost.
Okay.
Just go do it. Number 3 is Palm Springs on Hulu. I believe it's on Hulu. It's a Lonely Island movie.
Oh, I heard about this actually. Yeah.
It's fun. It is funny, but I think that's because they want to tell more of a serious story. It is funny. It has a lot of really funny moments. Overall, very serious. And I loved. Good Lord, it's such a good movie. Like, I thought about it for days after I watched it. But the general premise is that there is a time loop, kind of like Groundhog's Day. And there are characters trapped within that time loop, so. Fun. Number 2 is Borat's subsequent movie film.
Yes. That actually... It was funny enough, that movie was actually filmed here in down here in SoCal in Long Beach.
Part of it was.
Yeah.
Part of it was.
I remember my brother...
all over the place for that.
Yeah, I remember my brother told me that they had cut off sections of Long Beach to stick and film. So, yeah. I know my parents want to go watch it, actually. They are trying to pry that information from my brother's account so they can watch the Borat 2.
Yeah, I really funny because a lot of people, when they heard that Borat 2 was coming out, they were immediately like, watch it. They thought, like, whenever people think of Borat, they think of the bros that are just like, very nice, and, my wife. If you watch the first movie, that's not the message trying to be forthcoming. Yes, it's arguably the thing that made Sacha Baron Cohen a household name. Some said it was Ali G, but there was a lot of people who still don't know what Ali G is. Everyone's heard of Borat, So it was very surprising to hear he was making a sequel. I didn't know how he was going to do it. But what was funny to me was when this was coming out, I heard a lot of people say, nah, I don't want to watch it. It's just going to be another movie for bros to quote, yada, yada. And I went, have you seen Who is America? I said, no. I have to watch Who is America. Did we ever review Who is America on the podcast?
I don't think we ever did, no.
He plays like 6 different characters. All are very, very different. It got to the point where in one episode, I'm not joking, he had a congressman yell certain effigies, like the N-word, to the point where the guy had to resign. Like, he was basically forced to resign.
Wow, interesting.
Awful person. Like, he was very racist, but never said he was racist. It was a whole thing, but
right.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen's movies, for the most part, especially like something like Borat, they aren't there to just be dumb entertainment. There's a message. There's a reason behind what he's doing. And subsequent movie film is no different. Is absolutely no different. So, the number 1 movie this year was Hamilton.
Oh, yes.
Did you watch that at all?
I feel like I should. I know it's really good. I know it is. Hamilton is a play that people have been wanting to go see in New York, and I heard it's very hard to get tickets to go see pre-pandemic. So when I heard it's coming to was it Disney Plus?
Yeah. It's still on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So like people lost their shit, and I was like, okay, yeah, I probably should watch this for the sake of like watching it, and then I know it's good. Not sure it's my taste per se, but I'll give it a shot.
Well, here's the crazy thing about it. So there's a thing on Disney Plus alongside it That's a 45-minute conversation with a lot of the cast, and they get questions directly from people, and they have a historian there. And one of the questions that they get, and I think this is very important, is how was he able to make a play that is comprised mostly of people of color? Like, seriously, there's like 2 white people the whole thing. And using rap as its main source of musical inspiration. Knowing that most of the people portrayed within this story were slave owners. How was that able to be a thing? Like, how was he able to portray that on screen, stage, without that kind of thought process? And the conversation that came from that is so good. It's so fucking excellent. But the historian said something that I thought was always important and kind of like stuck with me, is that can you enjoy art even if the subject material might be a little problematic? Absolutely. The difference between something somebody made that is inherently problematic, what Hamilton is that hopefully Hamilton, which it did to me, will get people to look into the history of who these people act. And Lin-Manuel said that very, very succinctly. Like, that was one of the primary goals of writing this play, getting people to kind of look into who Hamilton actually is.
Okay.
So you have to check it out. You have to watch that and then that next to it, because it's all really good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the music is what's the best thing about Hamilton, honestly. Like, I've listened to the soundtrack like 8 fucking times now.
Damn.
Or it's great. Okay, shall we move on to games?
Yes. A thing that I know more about.
So number 10. So I didn't play every fucking game that came out, and I watched a few games being played because I just didn't want to play them myself, but I wanted to know the story. So, for example, I watched all of Last of Us 2. Not going to play it, but I watched the entire game. So I know the story. The games that I did play, these are the top 10 that I enjoyed the most this year. Number 10 is Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh my god. I'm going to get a VR headset. I'm playing that in VR. I cannot wait.
Yeah, no, it's very well done.
Hello?
Anthony?
Hello? Oh.
Yeah, all right.
Are you there?
You were saying something. I said, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry. No, I got you. I was like, kind of, you were talking for a second there and I didn't hear anything. It's like, oh wait, what happened? No, I was just gonna say,
Fucking Discord.
I know. I was just gonna say, like, I'm gonna jizz so hard when I play that game.
It's good. It's very good.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait.
It's what like the multiplayer is fun. I think that it has a lot of nuance to it, but the campaign is really kind of like, want to just play and have a good time. That's where you want to go. Is with that. Do you have a flight stick?
I think my parents might have brought it. I'm not sure if they did or not. I did have one, but I know if a flight stick is in hand, I'm pretty sure that'd be pretty cool to have with this game.
Yeah, like I've watched people use a flight stick while playing that in VR, and it's the best way to experience that game. So
yeah,
recommend.
Okay.
Number 9 is Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I need to play that game. I beat the first one. It was really good. I enjoyed my time. I need to play the second one.
The second one is a lot of more of the same. I would say the difference is that in the second one, more of like a central hub where you can upgrade stuff versus like just basically being like a Metroid. Or like Castlevania 2?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but it's it's very much Metroidvania still. Like, you still go to an area and get a new ability, but like more abilities by finding secret things and then taking it back to this village and living. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's lower on my list because they were like I didn't feel it was as good as number 1. So there's that. But number 8 is Spiritfarer.
I heard a lot of good stuff about the game. Haven't played it. Haven't played it. Oh wow.
Yeah, like I don't think people expected that from the game, but when you're a character going and finding spirits that are, people always said like, oh, it's the game for furries. Well, not necessarily.
Really?
The spirits that you're finding the spirits that you're finding are just, they look like what their spirit animal is. That's why they look like a deer and a frog and a mole and whatever. Like, they aren't inherently just the animal creature. Because when you take them, I'll spoil a little bit here, when you take them to finally rest permanently, you get into like a small mini game where you have to kind of climb things, and as you're climbing them, you get glimpses into their life as a human.
I see. Okay.
Where this game made me cry.
Okay.
So, I like, and as far as I know, Spiritfarer is on Game Pass.
It is. So, it is. Yeah.
But it's also not a combat game. It's very much a I don't want to say item management, but it kind of is an item management game. So I get prepared for that, I guess. But it was great. Number 7, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, ha! I see what you did there.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed playing that this year. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's definitely more in my wheelhouse for an RPG. I'm not super into turn-based, so being able to play something that has the story and more of a cinematic aspect and combat that's not mind-numbing.
Yeah, for me,
it was a lot of fun.
For me, when I was playing through that game, the combat's really fun. It's really cool. I love it. I think there are times it drags a little longer than it should, and maybe I haven't played FF7 the original, so maybe this is already the case with the original game. But yeah, I enjoyed that game. The ending was nuts. Yeah, it was my time of it was fun. I felt like though, like for Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was the time when my brother was just moving out of the last place I was at. He was moving out and he's taking the PS4 with him, and I needed to beat this game before he left. So for about a week and a half straight, I was playing this game for at least 5 to 8 hours trying to beat this game. I finally beat it on around 42 hours on the day of when he's moving. But oh my god, like I had to play this game so much. Not to say I didn't have a time of it. It's just like I kind of felt like I kind of rushed it. I didn't savor the game as much as I want to. So I might just replay it again when it comes out on Game Pass next year. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know exactly what you could take your time with per se, based on how it functions as a game. It felt like there are parts later you can take your time on, but like unless you move forward in the story, I don't see how you could grind per se.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that in other Final Fantasy games and a lot of RPGs, you kind of just stick in an area where there's random battles and grind. But
yeah,
I don't really see how you could do that in this one, unless I'm just missing something. But
it was more or less like for me, like if I was able to take my time with the game and just kind of go through the game at a casual, my pace level, and then also doing some of the side missions along the way, like I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more. Although the side missions were okay. They were not, the bee's knees to the main core of the game. So,
yeah, it's. But the other thing I want to say that I want to give it a lot of credit for is that I'm not like I play all my games on easy, as some of you may remember.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely played this on easy, but it also allowed me to play it in a way that was different. So I don't remember what the mode is called, but essentially, like your characters will auto combat. for you, and you can just pick special.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was fun for me is I'd be, button mashing and doing and playing as Cloud. So then I'd be like, I'd stop controlling Cloud. I'd pick a move for him to do, and then he'd continue fighting while I was picking moves for the other characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, that was fucking rad to me. I was like, yeah. So when I was tired, didn't want to button mash, I just let the game play.
Cool.
It was, dude, it was so good. I loved it. But I also didn't do a lot of, like, there's a guy that you talk to where you get the summons.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 2 summons the whole game. So
yeah,
that tells you how I play.
Out of curiosity, before we move on, I have to know. This is the most very important question that every gamer's mind when they played that Final Fantasy VII game. Who was your favorite waifu?
Oh, it's 100% Aerith. Sorry.
No, that is the wrong.
No?
That is the wrong choice there, my friend.
Is it Tifa? It's always Tifa.
Yeah, it's Tifa.
Everyone says fucking Tifa.
Look, I'm all about the childhood friends, so like, yeah.
Well, as long as you didn't say Barrett's daughter, I'm okay.
No. For a minute there, it might have been Jessie, but no, I stuck to Tifa. So.
Oh, I forgot about Jessie. I love Jessie.
Yeah, Jessie was really fun.
Jessie didn't come across as like a character that I like. She was my like a little sister kind of like attitude. That's how I saw her. I was like, oh, like she's fun. I want to protect her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then
Hey, no spoilers for people. I mean, the game came out. The game came out already, and people are talking about it. It's whatever. But yeah,
it's also a remake of a game that's already been out for a while. So there's that too.
Well, remake, yes, and quotations. I won't say any more.
Yeah. Fair. That is fair. Well, let me get on to the next game that I have on my list here. Number 6. One that a lot of people... I don't quite understand why a lot of people gave shit to, because I thought it was fucking fantastic. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
I felt that was fine. Like, it's basically the retelling of Dragon Ball Z, but like, it does a thing.
Yeah. It's a lot of the critiquing that I saw from it was a lot. It was a lot of it was a lot of people saying that it was shittier than the original show, that because it didn't tell everything. I was like, it feels like it took its plot from Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was like a nice little nostalgic, fun jaunt through the fucking entire Dragon Ball Z storyline. I don't know, man. Like, I played the whole fucking thing from front to back, and I enjoyed every second of it. I don't know why people are so critical of it, but...
Where does it end, out of curiosity?
What's that?
Where does it end, out of curiosity?
After the Buu Saga.
Oh, okay.
It's all of Dragon Ball. Yeah, it starts with the... Actually, it starts before... Okay. Like, it starts before Raditz comes to Earth. And then it ends... it ends, like, a little bit after Buu is... Well, I guess Majin Buu is defeated.
Okay. Cool.
So... And it has a lot of, like, the memorable moments, like... just sacrificing his life, and... like the cell fight is a lot of like that's another thing, is that like if you remember the show, like Frieza's like the planet will explode and it's like 11 episodes long.
Yeah.
Literally, like the fight with Frieza in this game is super fast. But like the Kid Buu fight on the Kai planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like that fight was insanely easy. Because all I had to do, because all Kid Buu kept doing was doing these massive like energy ball attacks, so I would just go back hella far. Like I would jump back hella far with Goku, and then I'd fire like a Kamehameha, or sorry, Kamehameha, some other kind of attack, and I just kept chip damaging him until he was dead. Like I was like, why am I going to get close? I'm just going to get hit by this fucking ball and die.
Right.
I had a lot of fun with it. Number 5 is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
The game of the year, I think, for a lot of people. The game of a pandemic year, I should say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that what I want to give Animal Crossing credit for is that it's the highest selling Animal Crossing game. It's the highest selling Switch game. And it's the highest selling game of the year at 22 million copies. I think maybe more than that worldwide. Yeah, it was this nice little easy getaway for people. And the online capabilities worked great, and it was a lot of positive behind it.
Yeah, it was definitely a game that came out, and it was literally at the start of this entire COVID era. People got it, and it just shot up the charts very quickly, and it is something that people needed badly, and for good reason.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I need to get back into it. I haven't played it in a hot minute, a bunch of other games, and at a certain point, I was able to get a used PS4 Pro.
Nice.
Well, I've gone since then and played all of Spider-Man and all of Horizon Zero Dawn and a few other games here and there that I never got to play because they're only on PlayStation.
Out of curiosity, what other games are you planning to play on PS4?
Nothing that I can... I rented Ghost of Tsushima, but it's not my style of game. Like, there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just very, it's a little too open worldy for me, and not a whole lot of direction with that open world. Like, the way that they give you direction is with the wind. I get very overwhelmed with that kind of stuff, and then I've watched people play it, and there's a lot of stealth missions that if you're caught, just try to fight your way out of it, you start the mission over again. I fucking hate that. It makes me not want to play a game. So that's why I never finished Ghost of Tsushima, but it is a good game. I have nothing against it.
Okay.
I don't have a VR set with it, or I would say there's a bunch of VR games that came out with it that I'd play.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Quite a bit already. I played all of the Uncharted's, every single Uncharted game. There was a deal on Xbox. Wow. There's a deal on PlayStation Now that has the remastered collection of 1 through 3, and then I don't remember how, but I was able to get Uncharted 4. And then I had $20, and the fifth game that stars the two female characters, I can't think of their fucking names for the life of me.
Yeah.
Which is a much shorter game too. It's half the length of number 4. So yeah, literally played every single Uncharted all the way through. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of any other PS4 game that could play that I haven't yet.
I was gonna say,
I played God of War.
Oh yes, God of War. Yes.
You know I'm not fucking playing a Souls game. Stop it.
I was just saying. I mean, Bloodborne's up there in terms of highly rated PS4 games.
Unless I can turn that game on an easy mode and don't have to deal with stress of losing souls and shit, I'm not playing it.
True.
It is not my bag.
I just want to see you suffer.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If we do a charity event, I'll play it.
All right.
Do a charity event, I'll do it, but I'm not doing it casually on my own without being on stream. Anyway, back to the list. Number 4 on my list is Hades. Just got recently. Yep.
My game of the year. Super good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It's my number 4, so that can kind of tell you where it's fantastic. I think it's the way that it tells its story through combat. The way that started, because it is a roguelike game. So every run is going to be different. Every single time you play the game, it's going to be a different run. It's going to be a different setup. But the dialogue with the booms is always different. It increases, it upgrades. Like it's the story is moving along, regardless of how well you do on a run.
Yes.
That is fucking nuts to me.
There's a video that actually explains how that works. In terms like there's a tree of what dialogue is going to be talked to Zagreus about, and if you did something else than was planned, then that dialogue tree will then switch to that one and then to the main one. So it's like, oh, it's really innovative. It's really cool.
Oh my god. Leave it to fucking Supergiant to make something innovative. I swear to God. Like, if you haven't played their other games, Transistor and Bastion, like, you're missing out. Like, this is our masters at what they do.
Yeah, and for me, like, and for me, like, when I was playing this game, I knew of it when it first came out on Epic Game Store, and I heard there was a roguelike that they were working on. I already played most of Supergiant's games, so it's like, okay, cool. I'll wait until this comes out officially 1.0. Finally get the game, finally start playing it, and just like, it was just, for me, I love roguelikes. I love them to death. So combine that with Supergiant and the way that the story is told, the way that the art looks, by the way, like, it looks so good.
Oh yeah, the art. Well, that's another thing I want to about me and roguelikes. I like a roguelike. I like a roguelike that doesn't make me feel like I haven't progressed. Rogue Legacy is a good example of this. I absolutely adore Rogue Legacy. It's my favorite roguelike. Because at the end of every single run, I put that money into the castle and I upgrade my character. It feels like every time I die, I make actual real progress, regardless of the roguelike element.
Yeah.
Dead Cells doesn't do this that well. I think that what Dead Cells does really well is its combat and its time. But as for its progress, they don't want you to have that kind of sense of progression because they want it to feel more like a Binding of Isaac situation. And I can't stand Binding of Isaac. I love the look of the game and what it looks like. I can't stand playing. So I feel the exact same way about Enter the Gungeon too.
Wow. You just named off all the games I like to play.
Well, again, I'm not, and that's not to say that Enter the Gungeon and Binding of Isaac are bad games. That's not where I'm going with that. What I mean by this is, when I play a roguelike, I hate, like, Binding of Isaac, right? Mm-hmm. There is no actual steady progression between runs, correct?
Yeah.
Like, you just start a seed and you go and you hope for the best.
Yep.
I don't like that. I don't enjoy that. Like, it gets very boring to me very quickly because I don't feel like my abilities are increasing, and I feel like a lot of it's based on luck. I don't mind some luck, but I don't want it entirely based on luck.
Right.
And I feel like Into the Gun, Binding of Isaac, and some of Dead Cells is like that. I cannot think of any other roguelike games off the top of my head other than those ones, but me, Hades is the best of all of it, if you ask me.
Agreed.
Hades is the perfect roguelike.
Yeah.
If you've never played a roguelike and you want to get into roguelike, one.
Yeah, I had to sit for a second. Is it the perfect roguelike? And I remember saying when I was playing it, like, I was like, yeah, this is the best roguelike I ever played, because it's really good. It's really, really good.
I mean, because literally everything you pick up sticks with you. The only thing that doesn't is the gold.
Yeah.
And there's a huge sense of luck. First you get and the boons, and it's just...
It also is, when you play to that game, like, you are whenever you get a boon and your ancestors talk to you, like, they're all very supportive. They're like, you know, they're encouraging you to keep going. You know, and not to mention, like, you know, each one is its own unique god that delves into also Greek history, but also, you know, other things too. Yeah, it's really cool.
One of the things I think is so clever is that also Hades is also very supportive of Zagreus. different way. He's not an abusive father. Not. He wants what's best for Zagreus. He's just too blind to see that that's not what Zagreus wants. And it's like, I love it. I haven't finished it. I haven't beat it. I think about it all the time. I'm like, oh.
All I say is that there is a very good reason to keep playing over and over again. A very good reason.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not just gameplay wise, but story wise. But yes.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. But number 3 on my list is Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Fucking loved it, dude. Like, Miles is such a fucking fun character to play and to experience his life. And it's not, if you're playing this game and you go into it thinking it's going to be like poster behind Anthony right now, it's a bit of a different story. I mean, here's my thought process. So everyone says, like, they pick their favorite Spider-Man movie, and I immediately go to Into the Spider-Verse. It is the best Spider-Man movie out of all the Spider-Man movies. A lot of reasons. But Miles Morales tells a better cohesive story than the first Spider-Man game. Just does. It just does. Now, granted, it is shorter. Like, it took me 6 hours to beat Miles Morales. So
wow. I did not expect
it's real short.
Wow, okay.
I did like 100% it. Like, I did every little thing around city and whatnot, which added another like 4 hours to the game. But it's really short. And honestly, like, as much as I think it's a great game, wait until it goes on sale, honestly. Like, it's a bit too expensive for what you're getting for your money right now.
Is it full price 60?
If you're in... Yes. Yeah, it's a full price 60 on PS4, and it's 70 on PS5.
Oh, that's right.
So,
that's right. Oh, good.
I honestly say just kind of be patient and wait for it to go on sale or some shit. It's a bit too pricey right now for what it is. But and a lot of people are saying it's glorified DLC, and I get that. I do. I really, really do. And it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't so expensive, but it's totally worth it. So I don't know, but it's my number 3. My number 2 is something that I'm a bit upset that it was looked over so much by so many people. Because of 2 other games, like, came out at the same time as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like literally the same week, and then like right after that, Cyberpunk 2077 came. Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
You know, it was funny. I've been hearing a lot of. It's funny. I'm hearing about the game from both sides. I'm hearing that from the critics' side, the critics don't like it or think it's fine, but from streamers and anybody else playing, like, they dig it. It's definitely their type of jam. So it was interesting to hear kind of both sides in terms of, like, you know, why they like the game, why they didn't like the game for various reasons.
Well, what's fascinating to me is that what I loved about it, what I was not expecting was it to be like Breath of the Wild. That was very much like, I was like, oh shit. Okay.
What was your first clue, man? Like, the freaking trailer was straight up Breath of the Wild.
I didn't pick up on that at all. Like, I was just like, oh, the first advertises gods and monsters, but
yes, it was gods and monsters.
Remember it being gods. So when I saw an ad for Immortals: Phoenix Rising, I was like, the fuck is that? And then, like, I saw a little bit of gameplay of it, and I was like, oh, it was that game. But yeah, the thing that gave it away, like the big part of it that's very wild to me, is not the exploration. That's actually far from the part that's Breath of the Wild. It's the dungeons that are Breath of the Wild. They're all puzzle based. There's very little combat inside the dungeon. It's all puzzle. and you get certain things from going into these puzzles that you can upgrade your character with. Very much like with Breath of the Wild, where it's either like health, stamina. The beginning of the game is very Metroidy, where you keep getting new abilities for. But then, like as you progress, like you get things in the game that allow you to do like there are some puzzles you will not be able to solve. Don't have certain abilities that you only get from going into dungeons. So when you're told to go through that first area, do everything in that area, then move on to the next area. I don't know. And that's not the only thing I love about it. Combat, the exploration, the visual style of it is fucking fantastic. It's gorgeous to look at. It really, really is. And I love the cartoony-ish style to it. Like it's all caricatures of these Greek gods, and I fucking love that. Comedy is something I was also not expecting. It is really funny.
Wow.
It's kind of a cheesy funny to an extent, but I really enjoyed that aspect.
Wow.
One of my favorite lines, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but not too much, because it's also a passable, like it's a completely missable conversation. You'll, once you have Aphrodite, the 4 gods you have to basically collect in order to go against Typhon. Aphrodite, Ares, the one guy, I can't think of his name, but he was basically their, he's I believe he's Zeus's little brother, and he is the blacksmith.
Okay.
The Greek god blacksmith. But it's him and Athena. Those are the 4 that you need to get. So there's this great conversation, and Hermes is there. So there's this great conversation where you meet up with Ares. He's been turned into a chicken because he was the god of war, yada yada. And you have to do a bunch of tasks for him to basically get his essence. If you go back to the house of the gods, essentially, and Aphrodite is sitting there to her, and your character will be like, "So you and Ares?" Like, "Oh yes, Ares. He'd come back from war, and he'd regale me with all these stories, and he'd regale me some more, and he just kept regaling me all night." And then Phoenix goes, "Yeah," and she'd go, "And then when he thought he was done regaling me, he'd regale me some more." And then you hear Hermes in the background go, "We get it." So fucking funny. Oh my god, it's so fucking funny. And there are a lot of little lines like that to the whole story, and it's just charming. And I have like no complaints. I know that people said that the comedy was very forced or that they didn't like it. It was cheesy, but I loved it, dude. I absolutely adored it. So, like between the gameplay and the writing and the visuals, it was just everything I loved about it. And I was telling people like, don't skip on this game, like punk, like it's a broken mess, like play Immortals. My number 1 game of the year, which I'm sure you've already figured out, kind of already mentioned it, but
it was Genshin Impact.
God, could you imagine?
Gregg's into a gacha game. Oh my god! What was it? I didn't hear it actually.
Oh, it's Fall Guys.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Cool, awesome.
Yeah, I played the living shit out of this game all year. Like, well, since it came out all year.
Yeah. Good on him though.
A small little a small little downside to the game though is that, like when it was on PC, or not PC, I'm sorry, when it was on console, base PS4 players were playing at 30 frames a second, which was causing them massive controller delay.
Oh.
But I was on a PS4 Pro, I had no controller delay.
I see.
So
Interesting.
I had a little bit of an advantage for about 2 months. And then they finally figured out what the problem was and made it 60 frames a second on base PC or base PS4. So
That's dope. Yeah, Fall Guys has definitely been one of the breakout games for this year. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of dumb fun.
It had one of my. Oh yeah, it's hilarious, dude. Like, it just came out their new season, and it's all the games that they made for it are a blast, and I love it. But there was one moment this year that came from Fall Guys that I absolutely adored, and that was like the whole thing with Tim the Tatman.
Yeah, I felt like that was like a unifying thing that everybody was watching. Like, even I was on Twitter, Twitch, people on YouTube. Was it ESPN even like covered it at some point when he finally got the crown?
There's literally so the way it played out was the guy who ran the Twitter account. He was watching, and Dr. Lupo made a joke about how Tim the Tatman had won a crown. So what was the genius of his name is Oliver. Genius of Oliver is he went, I'm just gonna tag the guy. I'm gonna make fun of him a little bit and say he hasn't won a crown and see what happens. And what ended up happening was that Tim kind of responded, and it just spiraled into everybody making jokes about Tim. It didn't matter like if he was playing the game or not. Like, people would just be like bombarding him with joke after joke after joke. So finally, when he was playing it, more and more people gravitated to his channel because they wanted to see him get that win. And it was every time he played, he gained more people, and it became a bigger and bigger thing to the point that it became a meme. Like, it was a meme for a minute of like somebody made a whole fucking page that was like, it was like, has Tim won a crown yet.com, and you would go to it and it would just say yes or no. It was all sorts of, it was so fucking funny.
That's so good.
It was it was so fucking funny.
Wow.
And I remember the day that he won a crown because I was watching his stream, and the second he got it, he had like 325,000 people watching.
Mm-hmm.
It was an insane fuck. But if you didn't really get to experience this brief phenomenon in internet history that happened this year that I adore, ESPN actually made a small documentary you can watch on YouTube.
Ah, it's so good. I gotta go watch it. I gotta go watch it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, it's so much fun. It was like, and that was the thing. A lot of people were critiquing it, saying like, it's this really dumb thing, and I'm like, yeah, no shit, it's dumb. But that's the point, isn't it? Like, we're all just having a good time, giggling, and even and to this day, Tim still hasn't won a second crown. Just FYI.
Was it like because he did it in a group? Like, I guess they kind of discredited. But I think some people will say that they discredit his win because it's not single or it was with a group.
Yeah. So shortly after winning that, he played for quite a few weeks after that, trying to get a solo win, and it never happened. But I don't think he's really picked up since then. At least I don't remember him having picked up the game, but I could be wrong.
Right. I feel like
Tim.
I was gonna say, I feel like he kind of left on a good note. I mean, that is peak.
Yeah. No. That's the thing is Fall Guys isn't his normal game. Like, he plays shooters. That's what he's known for. Like, he got really famous by playing Overwatch, a lot of Overwatch, and then that turned into Fortnite, and then that turned into Warzone. So, how he's gained his popularity and whatnot, but that whole part was so much fun too. Watching that whole thing like play out was a blast. So. Tim's a great guy because he also like plays a lot with the audience in regarding to his like knowledge on things. One of my favorite situations that happened this year was he moved to Hawaii. Or not Hawaii, sorry. He moved to Florida. And he says on stream, I shit you not, so since I'm moving to Florida, guys, wouldn't it be really fucking cool if like, I'm not saying I could do this, but like, since I'm so close to the Atlantic Ocean, like, how far would it take for me to dig to the ocean? Like, wait, what the fuck did you just? And he was like, yeah, how far would it take for me to dig before I hit the ocean? I'm thinking like 500 miles or some shit. I don't fucking know, but like how long would it take for me to hit the ocean? Everyone's like, never. Like you wouldn't hit the. What the fuck are you talking about? He goes, so okay, let's say you're in Hawaii. And everyone's like, yeah. And he goes, and you're on one of the islands, right? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, would take you a shorter amount of time to dig to hit the ocean because you're on an island out in the middle of the ocean. And everyone's like, wait, hold the fucking phone. Tim, do you think that islands float? And he was like, what, they don't? And everyone was like, oh, haha, good joke, dude, haha, you got us, you baited us. And he was like, they don't, he could tone completely change, and he was like, hold up. I don't know, I thought islands were like icebergs. Like, you get a little bit on the top and a bunch on the bottom, but I thought they were floating. And everyone's like, no, dude. So he had to look it up, and he was like, they're basically like mountains underwater. and his response to the camera was so great. He looks at the camera and goes, kids, don't homeschool your children. I'm the result.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so that's what I do and genuinely love about him. But he plays a lot of games I just don't watch, so I don't watch him nearly as often as like I maybe think he deserves or whatever. But
Right. Oh man, yeah.
He's a great guy. It's fun getting him.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure he is for sure. Well, there you go, guys. Top 10 list of games, movies, and shows.
Keep in mind, I didn't play everything. I didn't watch everything. I didn't like. It was just what I enjoyed this year because it's been a hell of a year.
Yeah, no, definitely. Everybody's list is going to be a bit different as every year is. I like to point out when we're talking about Game of the Year stuff. I realized the minute we're talking about Hades, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Last year's Game of the Year for me. Wait, was it last year or was it 2 years ago? Dead Cells came out last year or was that in 2018?
I don't remember.
Because I remember, it reminded me like Dead Cells was my Game of the Year for that year as well. And if it was like last year, I was like, oh, back-to-back years roguelikes. No, I think what it was, I think last year was Devil May Cry 5 for me last year. I think that makes sense. Yeah, because the DLC just came out this year, so yeah, whatever. But I like roguelikes. Just pretty much you people watching now know. Cool, awesome. I don't have much of an extensive list as you do. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it to Hades. It's given a year, and we're already saying its praises.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is definitely something that is definitely.
Yeah, my games. Like, the reason that I make my list the way that I do is because it's about what I had the most fun playing. It's not so much like, well, this game did a really good job at a bunch of things that I think the game should do. It's more like fun playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I played, like, Spider-Man, Uncharted, and Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time this year, too. But, this didn't come out this year, so
right.
I'm not adding them to the list.
Right, definitely. I will say honorable mentions for me for this year would be Fall Guys, Among Us. I would say Crash Bandicoot 4, which I haven't played, but I want to play it. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is super good. I mean, it's the same game, but like it's still good, man. Tony Hawk is still fucking good. And
I've played all those, by the way. The ones you're.
Yeah.
They just didn't make my top 10.
Yeah. And then I'll throw in because I'll not say like two more. Was it Yakuza Like a Dragon? Is another one. It's an honorable mention, which I bought it, I downloaded, installed it, but I haven't played it yet. I know I have not played a Yakuza game. I've heard conversations about the series and how it's really good, and I feel like this is a good starting off point because it's a new story within the Yakuza universe. So it's like, okay, I'll start with this. I haven't touched it yet, but I know it's fun to play. That and what was the other one I was thinking of? It was Yakuza. God, I brain for the last game I was gonna say, but yeah. Oh, Super Meat Boy Forever. I literally downloaded that game and played it the other day. it's
When that comes to console,
it's basically more Super Meat Boy, but it's actually I think a little easier. Actually, honestly, it's because you're always running the entire time. It's you're always running, but the challenge of it is the things that throw at you. You have to figure out along the way, and the checkpoint system is super. It is super forgiving. You don't have to start from the very beginning of a level, or if you're way back on the level. Like it's actually like in a way where you can keep going. And you don't have to worry about it. So I like that about that. But yeah,
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 I get that.
for sure.
A lot
So
of good stuff. A lot of good stuff in this shit year. A lot of really good stuff that happened in this shit year.
yeah. 2020 for me for this year has been, in terms of there has been diamonds in the rough in all of this.
Yeah.
For us specifically, because we're into this medium, we're into games and comic book movies and all that jazz. So for a lot of us, this was it was a shit year, but there's a lot of diamond in the roughs for sure. So yeah. I'll throw this one other thing out there, even though my thoughts on everything is a little skewed, but my peak moment, my highest euphoria moment for me was when it was confirmed that Annie was coming to Skullgirls, the main game. Me and everybody else in the community lost their shit because, like, for those who don't know, I do play a lot of Skullgirls, and I've been playing the game for a long time, and it has been literally 7 years, like in the story, that no new content has come to this game, and by miracle, there's new stuff coming to the game. So I was like, yes. So, oh man, that was one of the highest moments for me for this year in terms of game wise. For 2020. So, I was gonna ask you. I'll say it live here. Do you want to keep going, or you want to end this podcast?
Let's end this podcast. Yeah, I'm getting kind of sleepy.
Okay. Sweet. So I would say the thing to end on is, I would say that for people who have been subscribing to the YouTube channel, thank you. I know we've not been active. The last video we put up was actually the last podcast of Mission Start Podcast, back in February, I want to say, and people have been wondering what's happening with the channel, what's happening with us, what's going on in our lives. Here, what's happening. But what I will say though is, there is content I'm personally working on that will be on the YouTube channel, that I've been secretly working on that will be unveiled in 2021. Videos that were not done has been done, and they will be unveiled as we get closer to me getting back to streaming next year. So there's some stuff happening. There's some stuff in the works. It's just taking me a while to get it figured out. Spoiler, I'm becoming a VTuber. Anyways, look, it was bound to happen. Like, it's, hey, it was, from the way I was talking about it and why I'm into anime and whatnot, this is the perfect transition for me. So, but Greg, final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to do more with our YouTube channel, like reviews and stuff from here, from time to time, in pieces, because a lot happens throughout the year that I have thought, and I think people overreact. So I'd love to always kind of give my opinion. It's definitely something I'm going to look forward to. It would be things that I film on my phone and then edit on my phone and then like very brief, quick thought things. But I think that would be interesting to see the dichotomy of like your VTuber stuff and then my rants. It's going to be great. Or reviews.
Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Cool. You want to plug in where you can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on all socials under Chub Rock Geek. You can also follow me or go follow the podcast I do with my friends Maya and Betty. It's allqueuedup.com. We review shows based the shows that you can only find on streaming platforms. A lot of this year has also been just us doing discussion stuff. Pretty heavy year, so between dealing with COVID and the protests and my friends transitioning, there's been a lot of discussions on the podcast throughout the year. So I highly recommend going and checking that out.
Awesome.
You can find that on allqueueduppodcast.com.
Sick. You can follow me on Twitter, my personal Twitter at Defective Naruto. If you want to look for my streamer Twitter, it's going to be at Clawmaster_, where I will be tweeting in kayfabe to some degree on that Twitter when my VTuber debut happens in 2021. And also the Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Clawmaster_, which has been a hiatus because of doing all this VTuber work. But I actually, in 2020 for me, like, I'm definitely going to be much more active on the socials in terms of TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I definitely am planning to do TikTok videos. I think that I love the idea of like just being in cosplay and doing sing-alongs or other stuff to that nature. I think it's very fun for me and it gives me a reason to cosplay. So I'm definitely gonna dive into that more in 2021. And Instagram will be behind the scenes stuff, which I like the idea of doing. And YouTube obviously is gonna be the video content you will see here. So but yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Again, you know, thank you for the people who keep subscribing. I don't know why, I don't know how, but you keep doing it and it makes me wonder a lot. But thank you for subscribing and supporting us. If we get to 1,000, we get to have more stuff. With that being said, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in 2021.